f of x is equal to 3 over x plus 1. G of x is equal to x plus 5 divided by 2. And I need to find f of g of x. And I need to find the domain. Okay? If I'm finding f of g of x, it means I take what I have here for g of x, and I plug it into every instance of x in f of x. I like to use the example, if I was trying to find f of 3, it would be 3 over 3 plus 1. But I'm not finding f of 3. I'm finding f of g of x. So I have 3 over x plus 5 over 2, and I strongly recommend that you use parentheses when you're substituting in for your x, plus 1. And that is equal to 3 over x plus 2 plus 2 over 2. I just made my 1 into a 2 over 2, so I can have a common denominator. So I have x plus 2 over 2, which is equal to 3 over did I make a mistake? Yes. The mistake, I mean, nobody caught me. It's x plus 5. That's my mistake here.
Good job,
Who won that one? Who caught me on that one? X plus 5. Thank you, Sari. Okay, so I have 3 over x plus 7 over 2, which is equal to 6 over x plus 7. I multiplied the denominator by its reciprocal and the numerator by the reciprocal. Do you see how I did that?
Yeah, except for the first step, what did you get to the
From here to here, I multiplied my 1 times 2 over 2, because I can multiply anything I want by 1. You see it now? So that's how I got x plus 5 plus 2 over the common denominator of 2. Okay. Are we okay with that? Okay. The hard part to this problem is the domain. So listen carefully. If all I was concerned about was f of x, what would my domain restriction be? Couldn't be -1, right? Because if x is equal to -1, I'm going to have a 0 on my denominator. But I don't have f of x. I have f of g of x. So I need to find out what value will make g of x equal to -1. Because if g of x is equal to -1, I cannot have f of g of x. So if I want to find out what value makes g of x equal to -1, I just come over here and I set it equal to -1. So that gives me x plus 5 is equal to, what would that be? -2? -2. So x is equal to -7. That is my domain restriction. And that's the way you need to find it. It also happens to be the answer over here, why x can't be equal to -7. But it's not always the case. So you need to go back to your g of x, find out what it's going to make that cause that to be problematic. And if there is a value in your g of x that is excluded, that is also excluded. In this g of x, it just so happens that there isn't. There is no variable in the denominator. Okay, are we okay with that? Madeline? No. Listen up. Madeline says the domain restriction would be -7 and -1. No. Negative 1 is acceptable because negative 1 is just going to make this 4 divided by 2, which is going to be 2, and 2 is perfectly valid to fit in there.
All right.
Okay? Okay? Yes, sure. You would set the denominator equal to 0, and if the denominator in g of x is equal to 0, whatever value of x caused that to be equal to 0 is also excluded from the numerator. Sure?